Ever since the AT4X got introduced, I could not wait to have a chance to put it up against the Power Wagon. The one question I had was, does the Power Wagon still sit higher than the HDs? And in this comparison, you can pretty much tell it really doesn't. It looks like that AT4X with its 1.5-inch lift does edge out the Power Wagon. Now I am going to get my tape measure out at some point and we're going to measure, so stay tuned for that. But special shout out to Larry H. Miller, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah. This Power Wagon is for sale. So if you would like to purchase one, be sure to check out the inventory. Let's go ahead and start with my AT4X. I'm going to compare these trucks side by side. Let's go with the window stickers first so you guys can see what is optional and standard on these builds. Here's a window sticker for the AT4X. Be sure to pause it if you want to see some of their standard equipment. Base price is $82,800. Few options right here. Destinations right there, and then here's the total price at $95,720. As far as the Ram goes, base price is $70,590, but this truck has a ton of features, and that level 2 equipment group gives it like a lot of nice luxury features. And then here's a few of the things at the top here. And then it does continue on this side. Destinations right there with a total price of $91,195. So what you just learned is the AT4X pretty much comes all in. There's a few things that you can add, and we'll go over that here in a second. But my truck is very dirty because I took it off-road with one of my friends. You guys probably have seen it or maybe not have seen the video yet. But yeah, it's all dirty, and that's okay because I think it looks great. But up front on the AT4X, premium LED lighting top and bottom. They also give you this black bumper, which makes it look more aggressive. And forward-facing camera, which is really helpful for the trails. Also, red tow hooks. They do remove the valance down below to give you better ground clearance. You can kind of see that aluminum skid plate down below, and it goes pretty far back as well. AT4X badge right there. Functional hood scoop, and I love the overall design of the hood. Really aggressive styling there. And they give you this bronze color, which pretty much says, yep, you got the top of the line off-roader. But when you think about the Power Wagon, this Power Wagon, as you just saw, is super expensive, and it has the level 2 equipment group package, which gives it pretty much everything that you would want to have a nice on-road truck. Yeah, because this is a really nice pickup. Like, this has the premium lighting as you saw on the AT4X. These headlights come off of the limited trim package. LED fog lights, and this is a steel bumper. I know it's all shiny here, but this is a steel bumper, and this will hold up better in my opinion on the trails. Front parking sensors, same thing goes for both sides too. However, when you get a Power Wagon, they give you this worn winch. It comes standard, and it has a synthetic cable. I love that they've done this because it's really hard to install these things, you know, from aftermarket. And I've had a chance to really test out Fords, and let's just say this thing is overbuilt compared to the competition. Black tow hooks, forward facing camera, and I like the vertical slots in the grill. Really nicely done. They do continue to add the valance down below, and there isn't really a nice skid plate like you saw on the GMC. The Ram does come with this Sport Performance hood, which gives you a nicer bulge in the center there. It's not functional on the front, but it does have the heat extractors on the side right here. Now let's talk about this real quickly. You guys saw that this Ram does have the worn winch. You cannot get a winch with the AT4X, unfortunately. However, there is an AEV package that gives you off-road bumpers, kind of similar to what you see on the Ram, just a little bit more aggressive, front and rear. They give you more skid plates down below. They do change the wheel design to like a more of a blackout, kind of like what you see on the Ram. However, they do not give you the winch, so that's the only thing missing on the package. Is $9,300, but if you were to skip the diesel, it would be pretty comparable in pricing with this Power Wagon, which only comes with the gas engine. Let's talk about the tire and suspension specs on these trucks. The Power Wagon has a solid front axle, and if you plan on doing any hardcore off-roading, I would agree that this is the best way to go. It also has a front locker too, which is a huge advantage. As far as the GM goes, this doesn't have a solid front axle, it has an independent front suspension. And most people would say this is not good for off-road, which is debatable, but depending on who you are, you're probably not going to really be taking these trucks off-road that aggressively anyways. So I would say this truck is adequate. Now they do give you multimatic shocks for the GMC. So these do help with suspension travel, and they're just a little bit more aggressive compared to what you're going to see on the Ram. I also do like the fact that this truck does have a 35-inch tire. I mean, technically it's a 34.8-inch tire in terms of the height, and it's about 12 inches wide. So this is a pretty meaty tire. Now, Ram has the Bilsteins, and these are some great shocks, but they don't have a reservoir, and they're not going to perform as good as the ones on the GMC, personally. Also, the tires are 285 70/17 compared to a 305 70/18. So these are basically a 32.7-inch tire, so not even a 33-inch tire. Now I know why Ram does this. They simply do this because if you need the wheel articulation, these tires are going to help with that a lot better versus a taller tire. And in terms of the capacity for the tires, they're right here, so 3,195 pounds at 65 psi. Is a Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack. This is a Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT, and you guys can see right here, this has 3,750 pounds of capacity at 65 psi. Now for the GMC, they did give this truck new upper and lower control arms, and also the steer knuckle is different too because of the extra height. 1.5-inch lift on the GMC side, not including the tires, and this is about a 2-inch lift for the Power Wagon. Now, as far as aesthetics go, I mean, I'll let that be you guys' decision, but I think that the mirrors on the Ram are better because they do have power functions just like the GMC. However, you can control the lower convex inside the truck if you do plan on towing a trailer, which is really useful. Also, it is heated. They do provide cameras too, so if you are planning on towing a trailer, you have this camera view for your rearview mirror. GM does not have that, nor can you power the convex down below, and from what I've seen online, these are not heated too. On the GM, you do get power deployable running boards standard. You cannot get the high clearance steps from what I saw online. Also, for the Power Wagon, you cannot get the power deployable running boards, but you can get rock rails for the side of the truck, which I would prefer over these. Out back, Ram does give you a coiled suspension, which in my opinion is probably better for off-roading, and it's going to help with the ride too. And you guys can see those Bilsteins. GM does offer a leaf spring setup, so they give you 5 leaves in that main pack, no overloads, and more multimatic out back. The Ram boxes for the Power Wagon are available, and I would say most guys building these trucks from the factory are probably going to add these, because if you really do plan on taking these trucks off-road, this is super helpful for your gear. And the fender flares does give it a little bit wider stance. Same thing goes on the GMC side of the house. Out back, both trucks do have full LED tail lights, and the Ram does give you license plate lights that are LED. Class 5 receiving hitch for both sides of the house. And the Ram does have parking sensors down below, as well as the GMC. GM does give you the steps on the side of the bed. Also, Ram does have a smaller fuel tank, 31 gallon versus 36 gallon. And here's a quick look at the tail lights real quickly. Really nice style. These are unique for AT4 and the X. And then this does have the multi-pro tailgate, which acts as a step. And they do build in the kicker sound system. This truck has the optional 5th wheel prep package, which is not available for the Ram, for the Power Wagon. Gives you the 4 and 7 pin, 2 camera views above, and they do stamp AT4X right there. Here's the Power Wagon. Like the graphics right here. And they do provide a light that shines below for your conventional hitch. There is a camera input for your trailer for the rear view mirror, and then they give you this 12 pin for camera video for your trailer, and then a 7 pin assisted tailgate on both sides, and then they do give you the bed lights. I like that Ram allows you to turn these on and off. out back though too. This truck does also have 2 camera views. They pretty much give you bed view and then for the rearview mirror, which you'll see here in a second. I just measured both sides. The GMC is 6'10.5" and the Ram is like 6'9.25". As far as the back goes, let's just go ahead and measure. Let me go kind of like right here in the center because my plastic piece kind of sticking up a little bit more. So this is at about 61 inches right there, 61 inches. And on this one, it's about 60 inches. So it's about an inch for the most part. Let's go ahead and check out the interiors and then we'll pretty much wrap up this video. Here's the door for the Power Wagon. Nice stitching, soft touch pretty much all on the top. I like that they leather wrapped this too, more of that stitching there. This is all hard plastic, but for the most part, they just did a great job with this interior. This is a mix between a Laramie and a Limited. Also, love the black treatments of the door handles. 12-inch gauge cluster. Love that they give you these gauges here. Something that GMC does not give you is something called off-road pages. So check this out. If you go to dashboard, go to off-road pages, sometimes you have to click it twice. You have your accessory gauges right here. And then as you guys just saw, they give this to you. Now you can disconnect the front sway bar to get more wheel articulation going off-road. Of course you have your 4-wheel drive system, 4 high and 4 low. Axle is showing unlocked. So you can lock the front and rear, or just the rear. Downhill assist is right there. And I love this too. They even give you like this plaque on the side. Shows you some of the specs for the truck here. And it shows you that this truck has a gross combined weight rating of 18,000 pounds. So that's really cool that they give that to you. And we'll talk about the rest of the numbers on this truck. So let's go ahead and move over to the GMC. But before I do that, here's the center console. They do stamp, or they give you a big plaque, I should say, that says Power Wagon Ram. All this is wrapped in leather, really nicely done. USB, 4 more down below, Type A and Type C's. And then here you go, more storage, deep storage, front and rear, power plug right there. Now you guys know I'm a big Ram fan, but I have to admit, I think I like the Obsidian Rush better for the AT4X over the Power Wagon. Red stitching, white piping, it's just done well. And just the treatment to the door, including the speaker grill, is just nicely done. And as far as the seats up front go, 16-way, you can adjust the shoulder support here, the bolstering on the side to get you nice and tight in the seat if you're going off-road, and you have a massage function. So after the trails, you can get a massage going down the road on the way home. This does have a telescoping steering wheel, 2 drive modes too, and they do wrap this with leather. Suede roof also, which just makes this, I think, interior pop really well. And they also put on the A and B pillars. Did I mention they had a telescoping steering wheel? The Ram does not have a telescoping steering wheel. Let's go ahead and start it up. Push button start, just like the Ram. Now this screen is not my favorite because I like the amount of gauges that you can get with the Ram. They do provide heads-up display, and you can see this screen also in heads-up display. They give you a locker out back, but it does have an open diff compared to the Ram. Downhill assist is right there, which works pretty easily on both sides of the house. Heated and ventilated seats, dual climate control, you can find on both sides too. And this is a 13.2-inch screen, which is class leading. I think this interior is just slightly nicer than that Power Wagon. I still think the Limited has a better interior though. And even like the dash on this truck is just super clean. They both have this camera view, except like I said, you do have a camera view for your trailer that can show behind the trailer or on the side of your truck too. You can have multiple camera views, which I think Ram has done really well with. But out back, the size of this cab goes to the GMC. They do provide storage for the seat backs here. You can get 2 USBs in the rear of the GMC with the outboard heated seats. And this has a 12-speaker sound system compared to the 17 on the Ram. There is storage below this seat as well. And I apologize that my AR is in here. I completely forgot I put that in there. But nevertheless, on this side of the house, you guys can see you have 4 USBs, right? You have additional power plug. There was one up front, and one out back. GMC only gives you one up front. And their storage is actually kind of cool. It's basically right there. And yeah, as you saw, GM's was right there. But this cab is noticeably smaller. But unfortunately, here's where things kind of go downhill for the Ram. If you would like to tow a trailer, this Ram is not really set up for that. This is a purpose-built truck. So gross axle rating up front is 4,750. The rear is 6,200 pounds, but the gross vehicle weight rating is only 8,565 pounds. All in, this truck has a payload of 1189. Now, as far as the GMC goes, the payload is significantly higher, 2,854 pounds, and the towing numbers are right here: 18.5 conventional, 18.1 gooseneck, and the axle ratings just, you know, speaks for itself. It's just a lot higher than the Ram. So one thing you have to understand is this: the Power Wagon is truly a purpose-built truck. Not many guys buy the Power Wagon in the HD segment to tow. Most guys who buy this truck are probably coming from a half-ton, who just want that HD look and that prowess off-road. And this truck is just a beast. Like, if you took a Ram, Ford, and a GM truck off-road, I think the Power Wagon would shine because it does have smaller tires, which would allow it to go on some pretty sketchy trails, and it'll allow the wheels to articulate. You can disconnect that front sway bar, you have the front rear locker, you have the winch to pull out your other buddies when they get stuck. It's just a great truck. And I would hate to say this, you know, if Ram built a truck like this, and we're gonna do a video on this, and I probably already posted it, so yeah, you might want to go back and watch it. If Ram were to build a truck like this and just call it the 1-ton Power Wagon, I think it would be the greatest pickup of all time, because you would get the look with the capability of a HD truck. See you guys in the next video. We're going to be putting these trucks up against each other for acceleration, and we're going to be discussing the powertrains. See you guys soon.